This is Channel 25 WVTT Olean. Now, from the Twin Tiers' biggest broadcast news operation, this is the 6 o'clock report with Jeff Andrulonis and Alexa Olson. Listen on News Radio 96.7 WVTT or watch on News Channel 25 WVTT television. WVTT proudly presents the 6 o'clock report.
Good evening, I'm Alexa Olson.
And I'm Jeff Andrulonis. Good evening. The big story tonight on the 6 o'clock report. Could an Olean volunteer fire department be in the city's future? At last night's Common Council meeting, aldermen discussed the city fire department. It could end up costing city taxpayers almost $3 million in the future, Alexa.
That's right, Jeff. We sent WVTT's Derek Smith out looking for answers, and what he found was that the council talked about the possibility of eliminating paid positions to go towards an all-volunteer fire department.
Next on the agenda with Tuesday night's meeting, changing the fire department. In the city of Olean, Common Council meeting discussions surfaced. An attempt to find ways to reduce costs to the city, not to mention reduce costs to the taxpayers. Already a 1.01% tax decrease was passed this year, the largest tax decrease in the last 40 years. It's a start, according to all the aldermen, but a lot more needs to be done.
Well, according to last night's Common Council meeting, if the city contracts out the ambulance service and uses volunteer firemen, it would save taxpayers $3.2 million annually. The Olean Fire Department statistics show 90% of the workload is to assist the ambulance, and only 0.3% of the workload account to structured fires. It's recommended by city officials to vote on the matter December 31st, 2012. The result would potentially reduce the city of Olean property taxes by 40%, benefiting everybody. Derek Smith here, the Olean Fire Department, WVTT.
After facing allegations of animal cruelty earlier this year, the SPCA of Cattaraugus County is again in the spotlight. Our newest intern reporter, Ryan Lazo, who investigated those allegations against the SPCA, joins us now. Ryan, what can you tell us?
Well, I traveled on the shelter. On staff, nor keep the animals in a livable environment. She also told me that two SPCA workers who showed her the shelter and spoke on the record were fired. Those two workers are now helping her organize the protesters taken outside the shelter as we speak. Earlier this year, spoke to WVTT and responded to the allegations.
Well, they've totally taken everything out of context. They're, to be honest with you, they're a bunch of liars. They absolutely are making a lot of stuff up, and we intend to prove that. I would say to them, stop harassing the one shelter that has been saving animals for 28 years. There are so many shelters that kill animals every day, and then there's other shelters that take in tons and tons of money and really don't do anything to help animals.
All right, thanks to Ryan Lazo for that report. Well, for some students at Olean High School, their first day of high school is a sentimental one. WVTT's Derek Smith went over to the high school just as classes were getting out and talked with students about the ending of one chapter and the beginning of another.
It's going to be a pretty emotional time of year. It's going to be closing a lot of friendships, but hopefully starting some new ones coming up soon.
It was pretty exciting. I mean, I'm glad to be back to school. It's a little emotional. I got study halls all this year though, so it's good as being a senior.
There's going to be a lot of memories left for me here, and I'm going to always remember them, but I'm also trying to make new ones here for my last year. I plan on making the most out of it.
I'm glad it's the last day. Too much has changed throughout the years, so it's just not in a good way though. They say it's supposed to be like the best 4 years of your life, but I didn't really have fun in high school, so I'm looking forward to college.
Yeah, I can't wait to be out either. I mean, high school's okay, and senior year should be fun, but I kind of just want to graduate already.
You guys are leaving a legacy behind. You might not know that, but you're setting an example, especially for the young gentleman right here. What would you have to say to your young brother here coming into high school, like he's in middle school? What would you have to say to him to prepare him for the high school life?
Work hard and make a lot of friends, and you'll be able to get through high school pretty easily.
And education remains in the news tonight with talk about the possibility of more schools in Olean closing. The Olean Board of Education met last night. Although the board isn't ready to take formal action, they did float the idea of possibly closing the 2 remaining elementary schools in Olean, which would be Eastview and Washington West, then consolidating within the next 3 years to create one single campus. Again, no formal action taken on that proposal. Meantime, a 22-year-old man is indicted tonight on charges of murdering his 20-year-old half-brother on the Cattaraugus Indian Reservation. Cody Testerman was arrested. He's accused of luring his half-brother Jesse Seneca into a wooded area not far from his home on Route 438, then stabbing him to death. Police tell WVTT Seneca's body was not discovered for a few days. Testerman later admitted to killing Seneca while being interviewed by investigators. He's charged tonight with second-degree murder. If convicted, he'll face a maximum sentence of 25 years to life in prison.
The investigation into a Saturday morning crash in Portville is still underway and charges are pending. The crash between a motorcycle and an SUV left 32-year-old Timothy Min of Cuba in a coma. The driver of the SUV, 28-year-old Rose McKinley of Portville, received minor injuries.
A police chase in Cattaraugus County. Now a Salamanca man is under arrest. Cattaraugus County Sheriff's deputies tell WVTT they arrested 44-year-old Richard Skye of Salamanca yesterday. It started, allegedly, when Skye failed to stop for a deputy along Route 353 in Little Valley. He led police on a chase, they say, that came to an end in Ellicottville. Skye now faces a list of charges, including reckless endangerment. He's being held in the Cattaraugus County Jail without bail. He'll appear in court at a later date to answer for the charges. Former President Barry Snyder Jr. is facing Richard Nephew in the November Seneca Nation of Indians general election. It's the 5th time Snyder has run for the 2-year term as Seneca president. He got past Kevin Seneca and Todd Gates in polling on Monday. The Seneca Party caucus is coming up later this month on September 23rd.
Well, Congressman Tom Reed will be in the Olean area tomorrow morning conducting a press event up by the airport to announce legislation he will be submitting, which will speed up highway safety improvements. We will make sure to bring you this story tomorrow on the 6 o'clock report.
And to clarify, Congressman Reed will be at the Olean Airport tomorrow, and we'll keep you up to date tomorrow on the 6 o'clock report. The news continues, and we take a look at warnings that have been issued to visitors of the Kinzu Reservoir in the Quaker Run area of Allegheny State Park for a potentially dangerous blue-green algae. Some strange stuff. Officials are waiting for testing of that algae to be returned. The samples were taken from near the Friends boat launch area. Park rangers describe this weird algae as looking as if someone poured green paint into the water.
Well, St. Bonaventure's men's and women's rugby teams may look different on the pitch this fall. Both clubs hope their records look pretty much the same. Both teams, defending champs in their respective New York State leagues, have dropped their previous nicknames and their black, gold, and white uniforms for a more traditional university scheme. The men and women will sport primarily brown uniforms.
Interesting change on that. Coming up, WVTT's World News Roundup, including more bloodshed from Syria. Details next as the 6 o'clock report rolls on here on News Channel 25, WVTT.